Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. It's the American Doofus Show. What do you say, gang? Thanks for tuning in. And please hit the subscribe button, hit the like, hit the share, and leave a comment if you would. If you're already a subscriber, hit the notification bell so you'll know when we're on. We will be on Thursday night at 10:30 live for the People's Platform, and your chance to come on and talk about what you would like to talk about if you so desire. You can also email me topics at americandufus@gmail.com. Been having some computer problems, so I haven't been able to access email like I would like to. Hopefully that is corrected tomorrow, and my laptop's back up and running. But for now, here we go. It is the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. And it's in case you missed it. These are some things that happened over the weekend or the end of last week that you might have missed. And one of the things that happened was there was the sentencing hearing took place for the three people convicted, the three white men convicted of murdering the young black man, Ahmaud Arbery. And all three were sentenced to life in prison. One of them has the possibility of parole. He did not take an active part in the actual murder. He was the driver and the person that videotaped the incident. So he is eligible for parole. The other two are not. And a coalition of Black self-defense groups held an armed rally outside the courthouse after Travis McMichael, Greg McMichael, and William Bryan were sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. The group included the New Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, the United Black Power Militia, and the Panthers Movement. And the groups called for unity among an ideologically diverse range of Black self-defense groups and promised further actions in 2022. And here's a look at what went on outside the courthouse. Once again, it's in Brunswick, Georgia, the site of the sentencing hearing for Ahmaud Arbery's killers.
All right, we're here to make a statement here. And this statement is on behalf of the leaders who have fought hard to bring about justice in this case, who have fought hard to bring about the conviction of these defendants and the end to white vigilantes killing black men and black people, such as Brother Ahmaud Arbery. These brothers and sisters, it takes grassroots activists. Attorney Ben Crump just said it. It takes grassroots activists. It takes soldiers. It takes people traveling the roads and the highways to put pressures on this case and make cases work like this to justice. Come on, Sister Crystal, who in this case. So we want to thank every leader, thank every commander. We want to thank everybody because we in this movement are settling and solving our differences and learning to work together as a common unit. And that means something in this day and hour. I want to thank. Now see you come over here, brother. Let somebody hold that for you. Black Power! I want to thank several gentlemen here. I want to thank the leader of the Lion of Judah Armed Forces, Mr. Nasir. Let's give him a black hand. Been working this country. I want to thank the leader of the original Black Panther militia here, Brother Mike Payne, the national leader. Let's give him a black hand. I want to thank all the other soldiers who are here. I want to thank Nasir. Okay. I see you, Brother Jay. Black Power, Sister Crystal. Brother Eagle. Can't thank Eagle enough. That's right. Mr. Muhammad. Okay, so let's get down to business. You'll hear from these commanders. Okay, here's the point. Who are we? This is the new Black Panther Party. This is the original Black Panther militia. This is the United Black Militia. These are Black self-defense groups who are committed to organizing and defending our people on a permanent basis. Right. We're thankful that these defendants have been convicted, but the problem of our people has not been solved by one conviction. Our people must organize. Our people must train. Our people recognize that the threat of the Klan and the threat of white vigilantism in this area and all over the country is alive and well. Right. And we have determined that we will practice self-defense and we will spread the organizing of self-defense amongst our people by any means necessary. Okay. And so we want. Okay. So once again, that's Brunswick, Georgia. And that happened on Friday of last week, the sentencing hearing for the 3 white men convicted in the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. Noticeably absent, the NFAC. Now, I've had people question, is Grandmaster Jay done? Is the NFAC done? And I will say that to my knowledge, they are not done, not by a long shot. I will say that they might be underground. They might be doing some things that just aren't in the public eye. So watchdog NFAC, the NFAC itself, Grandmaster Jay, while not in person in Georgia, does not mean they have gone away, at least to my knowledge. And after this episode, if it is the case that they have, I'm sure I'll hear about it after this episode. There's a lot of talk about problems in our world and problems in our country, and not all the talk is based upon race. There is some serious talk based upon politics of a second civil war, and not a race war, not a war between blacks and whites, but a war between ideologies. Here's a brief report from CNN.
A second civil war. That's a phrase that should frighten you. It's an obscene idea, given that 750,000 Americans died in the Civil War more than 150 years ago. But in recent years, as we've seen partisan politics deepen their divide along regional, racial, and ideological lines, loudly denying the legitimacy of the opposition, we've watched distrust escalate while hate proliferates. And with it, we've seen a sickening uptick in second Civil War rhetoric. It's grown from self-styled militia members and extremists online, crossed over into conservative populist protests, and even conservative members of Congress. Ex-President Donald Trump retweeted warnings about a second civil war to inflame his base ahead of his first impeachment. And some of the rioters who stormed the U.S. Capitol, trying to stop the counting of electoral votes after the victory of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, were wearing T-shirts promoting civil war while others wielded Confederate flags. Since that insurrection attempt, there's been talk of a national divorce by likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Alabama's Mo Brooks, and North Carolina's Madison Cawthorn.
If our election systems continue to be rigged and continue to be stolen, it's going to lead to one place, and it's bloodshed. And I will tell you, as much as I'm willing to defend our liberty at all costs, there's nothing that I would dread doing more than having to pick up arms against a fellow American.
Inevitable.
Again, you can catch that report on CNN as well as this.
Favor blue or red states seceding from the Union to form their own separate country. 41% of Biden voters, 52% of Trump voters at least somewhat agreed. If you think this is far-fetched, know this. Since 1945, the number of nations in the world has tripled, many of them the result of secession. There are currently about 60 secessionist movements worldwide, which leads me to this week's survey question at swerconish.com. 50 years from now, will the U.S. map be the same as today? My next guest has researched the topic, written a book of speculative nonfiction about it.
I've written a book of speculative fiction about it. The book's called America, Land of the Greed and Home of the Grave. And it's available on Amazon. It's available worldwide. And the link to buy the book is in the description below. One more final example of where our country might actually be. Each one of us, where we're at in our own little circle of friends, family, circle of influence, however you want to determine it. We may not think that anything so drastic is even a possibility, but yet we forget that January 6th was just over 1 year. It was 1 year and 5 days ago that our democracy almost failed. How bad is the current situation? Well, Canada thinks we might be in some trouble.
Thank you, Biana. And I'm isolating at home because today I tested positive for COVID, but thanks to being fully vaccinated, the symptoms are mild. So let's now bring in Senator Kaine, who's had his own brush with the elements in the last 24 hours or so. Senator Kaine, you were stuck on that I-95 highway for all that time. Was there any silver lining in that dark moment?
Well, Christian, it was a
Okay, that's the wrong piece. That's my fault. The United States is coming to an end. The question is now, the United States is coming to an end. The question is how. Those are the jarring opening lines of Canadian author Stephen Marcy's new book, The Next Civil War, Dispatches from the American Future, released the same week as the anniversary of the January 6th attack. Again, he's written something that he considers nonfiction. I've written a novel. It's a great story. It's the story of, it's several different stories weaved into one story. And basically it's the story about people wanting to destroy democracy, that wanting to get rid of the vote, get rid of Congress, and have a dictator, have somebody decide everything for them. What kind of person has that mindset, that they don't feel like they can think for themselves, that they have to have some authority telling them what to do, how to do, where to go, what to think, what to eat, what to wear? Because there are a lot of people in our country that are like that, that are demanding someone authoritarian to take over. And I'm going to end this episode with a look at CNN as it is right now, because there's one thing I want to touch on. The CNN headlines: why Democrats are thinking of going nuclear. Let me make a quick observation. You've heard the phrase, bring a knife to, he brought a knife to a gunfight. Well, Democrats bring arguments to gunfights. Okay, they bring an arrogance. They bring a, I know more than anybody else, so you listen to me. That Republicans also bring. However, Republicans will fight for what they believe. Democrats, not so much. And they would rather argue. And I'm afraid they're bringing arguments to a gunfight. The idea of going nuclear is simply meaning they want to reinstitute, they want to kill the filibuster and allow for votes to be 50 to 49. The way it is right now in the Senate, you've got to have a 60-40 vote in order to pass something, a super majority, if you will. And the Democrats are trying to end the idea of a filibuster and the idea of a super majority. U.S. grounded planes as a precaution after the North Korean missile launch. North Korea launched what they call a hypersonic missile. And it's just another reminder we're in a dark world. The one thing I do want to point out, more than half of Europe could catch COVID-19 in the next 60 days. What's that going to say about America when we are in the thralls of a pandemic at the moment? With a good friend of mine, my running mate in football, not in politics, but in politics as well. We were on the same ballot a couple of times. A good friend of mine that I played football with and was in the backfield with had a heart attack last night, 11 o'clock last night. And he's still alive and he's doing he's stable. But they had to do all the procedures on him in the hallway of the hospital because there weren't any rooms because of COVID-19 infections. There are two things I want to touch on if I can find them here. Here's one of them. Black Voters Matter co-founder says Biden is all talk. You shouldn't be surprised. And the other story I wanted to touch on seems like it might have disappeared in the refresh, but I'm going to give a little history lesson very soon about what Nazi means, about what fascism means, and someone I know from Indiana, an Indiana state senator. This is the story I'm looking for, but it's disappeared. An Indiana state senator has had to apologize because he came out and said the teachers in Indiana should not talk bad about Nazis or about fascists. And a lot of people born today don't have any clue what happened in World War II, why we fought fascism, how many people were exterminated by Nazis and by fascism, not only in Germany, but in Italy. And what happened to the people that were leading those horrific movements, and how in the world could we accept here in this country such a movement? That's the next episode. Again, Thursday night, we'll be doing a people's platform, 10:30 Thursday night, Eastern Standard Time. Every Thursday night at 10:30 will be your chance to come on and talk. Now, I'm also going to do something rather unique I haven't done before. I'm going to do a sports episode, totally sports, coming up probably on Friday. It'll either be Friday or Saturday morning ahead of the wild card weekend NFL. I used to watch all sports. I used to watch college football, college basketball, baseball. I used to watch professional basketball, auto racing, horse racing, anything and everything. It takes too much time. Our time is limited on Earth. In my opinion, it took too much time. And I quit watching everything except professional football. It's the only thing I watch on a regular devoted basis. And I've been blessed to not be doing too bad in some fantasy football daily contests, and have been able to make a little bit of money. So we're going to talk about, I'm going to have a show strictly for the NFL, an episode strictly for the NFL, either Friday or Saturday morning. Talk about who I think is going to win, talk about players you could possibly build a daily fantasy lineup around. I'll show you some of my past fantasy lineups, talk to you a little bit about strategies, talk about why I'm not surprised that the Indianapolis Colts aren't in the playoffs. I grew up a Chicago Bears fan. My first name's Barry, B-A-R-R-Y. My oldest sister gave me the nickname Bears. And that nickname has stuck through family and friends. And I'm known as Uncle Bears by a lot of family members, and it's heartwarming. But I was a Chicago Bears fan because when I grew up, that was the only team that was relatively close. We saw all the Chicago games. We only had 4 TV channels, and we saw all the Chicago games. And it's not a surprise that the Colts are not in the playoffs because they don't have a stone cold killer for their quarterback. And we'll talk about that coming up in the sports episode. Again, either Friday or Saturday morning. Look for that. And tomorrow, again, I'm going to give a little bit of a history lesson in the episode. This is, in case you missed it, it's the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. If you'd like to help support the program, you can do so by donating through the Cashapp. It's real simple. $ American Doofus, AMERICANDUFUS. with a dollar sign in front of it on the Cash App to donate $5, $10, whatever you feel comfortable with. Please help keep the show rolling. And also, as I said, I've got a novel, my latest novel's for sale. It's on Amazon. The link's below in the description. I hope you'll buy it. It's a good story. And my other two novels also available on Amazon, and in bookstores around the world. So thanks for watching. I do appreciate it so very much. I love you all. You know that. And I thank you all for watching. I look forward to your comments, those pro and those con. And I look forward to talking with you come Thursday for the People's Platform at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Until then, it is the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. I wish you blessings in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. If you're a Christian, namaste, shalom, salam, blessings, peace, love. It's a dark world. Try to be a light, but don't be a doofus.